This is Clearing the Air at the World Nicotine Congress in 2026. And Raponi, if you could just introduce yourself and let us know why you're interested in this field.
I'm interested because I worked in this field. So now I'm an independent tax consultant, and I'm dealing with indirect taxation, so VAT and excise duty. So I spent 3 decades, more than 3 decades in the European Commission as an official, especially in taxation field. So I have some knowledge in this field. I'm also professor of European tax law, and I worked for 2-3 years as a senior advisor with the law. So I have different experience from the private sector and the public sector in the European Commission. So it's the reason why when you are a taxman, you are dealing with tax issues. So it means excise duty is a tax. So it's the reason why I'm dealing with this. The treaty is very clear. It's Article 113 of the treaty saying that we have to harmonize just for the...
Second, and go. You were head of the unit that came up with the original tobacco excise directive. So what was the original policy rationale there?
It was just for the purpose to put in place an internal market. So it means that the treaty, the provision of the treaty, Article 113 of the treaty, say clearly you have to harmonize indirect taxation, it's not concerning direct taxation, for the necessity of the functioning of the internal market and to avoid distortion of competition. And that's the reason why it has been decided to harmonize indirect taxation, VAT, and excise duties. But this is not the first priority. The first priority is the functioning of the internal market.
Okay, but when we hear about the current revision that's, as of today, March 2026, being debated in the Working Party of the Council, we hear a lot more about the public health rationale than we do about the internal market rationale. Yeah. Does that survive legal scrutiny? Is that what the Commission and the institutions are really there for?
I understand the Commission because taking into account that the Commission has proposed very high level of taxation, so I have to justify. If I have to justify based on the internal market, it's quite impossible. It's the reason why they use the argument, this is for health policy objectives, we are proposing a high level of taxation. Now, if you want to challenge from a legal point of view, it will be very difficult from this point of view. You can try, but I don't think it will work.
Okay. The next logical question has to be, well, how much of that is going to get eaten by the illicit market? What were your assumptions around the illicit market? Did that play out?
Yes, this is a risk, obviously. We have a case now, it's in France, for example. They apply a very high tax rate, and illicit market, it's moreover 50% of the market. It means that the risk to put in place very high level tax will increase the level of illegal activities. Clearly, in Italy, we have an example which is very direct link between the level of taxation and the level of illegal activities. This is a risk, especially now with the new products, with pouches, with e-cigarettes, etc. It's very light. You use internet, you use a website, there is free movement within the EU, so it's so easy to buy abroad. So it's the reason why, from my point of view, and there is also a risk for health policy, because if you buy illicit products, which is the case now, there is no security for the quality.
So we are now beginning to see illicit markets for vapes and for pouches grow. So it's useful to reflect on what that means in society more broadly, because these financial flows into the illicit market.
Your criminal organization, for different reasons, are using products which are easy to fraud. Drugs, it's more risky, I would say, from this point of view, because penalty is very high, you go in jail directly. When you are using frauding this VAT, but also this excise duty, it's less risky from this point of view. And if there are high taxes, So your gain is higher. So it's reason why, criminal organizations are using everything. What they are looking at just to make money, nothing else. And the main problem for them is to invest. So they have to wash the money they got. So it's a criminal well organized with a lawyer, banks, etc. It's really well organized criminal organizations.
So when we hear the statement from some in the public health community that, oh, it's only the tobacco industry that uses the threat of the illegal market as some kind of a lobbying tool, it's not real.
It's a reality. You have a report that's been presented by KPMG on the market of illegal activity in the tobacco sector. It's clear that illegal activity is increasing. The Commission is presenting every year a report on the VAT gap. The last year it increased a lot because it's really a business for criminal organization.
Tax legislation, the excise file that we're talking about, is a little bit special in European institutional politics because it requires unanimity in the Council. So we're negotiating the last one, and when your successors are thinking about negotiating this one, what actually moves member state positions in Council? Is it a public health argument? Is it a revenue argument? Is it a trade, illicit market argument? Or does it depend which member state you're talking to?
It's different reality in different member states. Clearly, is revenue is the first. When you are taxing, it's revenue, clearly. If you have related policy objectives, it's best. It's reason why, depending, like Italy, they make a direct link between illegal activities and the high taxation. In some countries, they are putting more priority on health policy, but it's depending. You have to take into account of these different realities. Member states are not the same. And also it's depending a lot of the income of the people in this country. So it means a high level of taxation for poor countries whose income is difficult to afford. So what will be as a result? It will increase illegal activities, certainly, because they will continue to smoke or to use this product, and they will try to pay less. How to pay less? Illegal activity, to buy abroad, which is the case of France. They are going to Spain to buy cigarettes because the price difference is so high. So the cross-border shopping is very important. 16% of the EU population is living at the border of the countries, within 30 kilometers from there. So it means it's easy for people to go to France, to Luxembourg, and to make the difference, the price, and to buy.
So what's the history of the illicit market in Italy?
Because they have experience in the past, and they understood that with a high level of taxation on this product, it will create illegal activities. This is a direct link, reason why the position of Italy, what I understand, because I'm not participating to the negotiation, is very moderated. It's not like France was pushing for a high level of taxation, but they are pushing. But now they are also asking to protect their border. So actually, as a consumer, you can buy abroad. There is some indicative limits. It's not compulsory. And now France is asking in the Council, and they are negotiating, to change the indicative quantities by compulsory quantity and reducing this quantity. It means that they have to control at the border what you are buying, etc., which is, from my point of view, contrary to the principle of the internal market, the free movement of persons. But this is a reality. Just to protect their own country, they are trying to reinstall border control.
You would have worked on the initial proposal that was primarily concerned with products that are well known to be very, very harmful. Cigarettes being possibly the most harmful legal consumer product that you couldn't even conceive of. We're now looking at similar levels of taxation on substitute products that cause a fracturing of that.
This is not consistent. This is not coherent. It's the reason why they have to take into account how this risk related, especially concerning health. I don't understand why it's not be done clearly.
But is there a way of looking at the costs of the healthcare for those people that are smoking? And
It's difficult to have what we call externalities. So, you have externalities for everything at the end. But I think the position, and hearing to the commissioner, who is responsible for taxation, the main argument is putting forward is this young generation using this product, which is not good for them, etc. This is mainly what the interviewer was reading. It was a young generation, it's addictive, etc. It's not a question of harmful or not, it's just really this main argument. So during the negotiation in the Council, except some countries like Sweden, who has a good example, the other country has not. There are no discussion on this point. Not really hot discussions, I would say.
And lastly, the Commission has proposed something a little bit new in an adjacent way to this directive, whereby a proportion of tobacco revenue will become what's called in Brussels language own funds.
Yes.
Do we think that survives
No.
the MFF?
No. No, because own resources, I don't understand, because what is important in MFF is the expenditure, the amount of the expenditure, and really they didn't increase the expenditure. Now how to finance the expenditure? They have to repay the next generation debt. And they decided to implement 4 or 5 new own resources. One is on enterprise turnover, which is stupid because a company can have a huge turnover and no profit. So they are taxing turnover and not the profits, which is not very consistent. And what they call TEDOR, which is excise duty. From my point of view, it's a double damage, I would say. First, proposing high level of taxation, and then adding 15% without any 15% for all countries, so depending on the consumption in the country. So from my point of view, there is no logic in this. What I understood during the discussion in the Council, many member states opposed for a question also of sovereignty. Because in taxation, sovereignty is very important. The consent to tax is something linked to the concept of nation. It's the reason why we have unanimity at European level, because you have to respect the sovereignty, the tax sovereignty of the member states. And the member states are not prepared to give up on this.
You've obviously been a Brussels person longer than I have, but one thing that I noticed, and particularly as someone from the UK, is that national governments often like to channel their difficult decisions through the EU, so they've got somebody else to blame when people don't like it.
It's easy.
And I think that was a big part of what led to the UK leaving the
Yeah,
EU.
you're right.
Do you see that in other member states? Is that a...
It's very common. What I said because of Brussels. But what I don't say is that the member states are deciding, and the Commission is just proposing. The Commission has no power of decision.
Why are the Commission still walking into this trap?
Because they have in mind what we call the common interest, with the EU common interest. If you see now in the globalization with China, US, etc., from my point of view, I think EU has a merit of existing first. And I think that now it's up to the member. It's a political question just to give more power at the EU level, etc. So we are a big market, very big market. We are bigger than the US, but politically we are not. We are very weak from this point of view. But this is political. I'm not a politician. This is just my personal view.
But it is. But it is something that occurs to me every time I work in this field. I work in a bunch of different policy areas. in this one, be it on the tax side or be it on the product regulation side, it always seems to me that the member states are channeling the unpopular decisions that they want to make anyway through the Commission. The Commission falls into the trap every single time, and all you're doing is fomenting anti-Brussels feeling to the point that when you need Brussels, it can't do the thing you need it to do.
We had the last time in Italy, I think, explaining a different situation and explaining that it's thanks to you. You know, you have the case now with a regional fund, and Spain is a good example. Everywhere in Spain, you have an airport, etc., funded by EU regional fund. In some countries like France, no, it is written very so small because they say, no, it's France we decide. No, it's with the regional fund. It's always, this, and I think from my point of view, the Commission should react. They try to explain to the citizen, thanks to the EU, what we have.
Okay.
This is from my point of view, but it's not, I'm not a politician, so my personal view.